Hi, this is Katie with Empowering Astrology, and this is another look at the astrology of this week, February 17th through 23rd, 2020. So yes, my name is Katie Sweetman. I am located here in Brooklyn, New York. I am an astrologer and a psychic medium, and I am quite honored and privileged to get to connect with many of you around the world, not just through this weekly broadcast, but also through social media, through Instagram, through Facebook here, and also through my client work. So thank you all for joining me this evening. And if you're watching on the replay, do say hello. This week, we've got some big things to cover. The main event is something called Mars in Capricorn. Mars arrived in Capricorn yesterday, but that new beginning, that new energy is really going to be with us this week. Also, we're wrapping up Aquarius season. So as I record this on Monday, February 17th, we are just about to step into the last day of Aquarius. In fact, at some point tomorrow, I don't have the exact time handy, the sun will go into Pisces on the 18th of February. So we're about to start a new season, and Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So we have made nearly one entire journey around the zodiac, and the zodiac is just a wheel of life. So we begin this wheel of life in Aries, the first sign, and Aries teaches us something. It's the beginning of something. It's initiating something. And then we go on this journey through each zodiac sign, and we grow and we learn. And then when we get to, say, Aquarius and Pisces, we're now zooming out. We're now getting perspective. We're thinking and feeling and searching and integrating the lessons that we've learned over the last 12 months. Aquarius is a very intellectual sign. It's about big ideas, perspective, vantage, this idea that we can look at our lives and start to connect the dots when the sun is in Aquarius. At least that's the idea. And when we get to Pisces, which we will step into tomorrow, February 18th, it's like we're going into that liminal space between these 2 years, these 2 lives, these 2 stories. And so Pisces invites us to kind of pull away from the physical world. It's no longer about us. It's no longer about our job, our status in the world, our relationships. It's now about that really more that spiritual essence of life. So things tend to dissolve away in Pisces. It's like the least physical and grounded of all the signs. It's also the last water sign. So we're touching on these themes of compassion, understanding, Pisces being, I like to call it the cosmic ocean. Cancer is the first water sign. When we think of the crab, we think of the ocean. It's feeling, but it's a very personal feeling. And then we move through Scorpio, the next water sign. When we get to the last water sign, Pisces, it's not my feeling, it's not your feeling, it's collective feeling. It's this kind of ocean of feeling that we're all connected to. It's the womb, it's the mother, but it's the cosmic mother. It's much bigger than us and much bigger than this life. I see some familiar faces on the live chat, including my mother. Hi, Mom. I see Sharon from Hawaii. Let me know where you are saying hello from. Italy, a country that I adore, especially Florence and Rome. I'm going to be in Spain this week, another country that I seem to be in a love affair with. But that said, I see some other familiar faces. So yeah, say hello. Let me know how your Aquarius season was, and let me know what you're feeling now that Mars went into Capricorn. So, I started to talk about this a few moments ago. Yeah, Mars went into Capricorn yesterday, February 16th. I'm really intrigued by Mars and Capricorn for a couple of reasons. One, Mars is what's called exalted in Capricorn. It does its best work. It takes that kind of raw energy and power of Mars and it puts it towards planning, execution, leadership, and sort of that sort of bigger picture that Capricorn is known for: ambitions, goals. What are we working for over time? And the reason why I'm intrigued by Mars and Capricorn, we currently have 3 planets in Capricorn. We have Jupiter, we have Saturn, we have Pluto. And if you think back to, say, the end of December going into January, and remember, January felt like a year. And I think one of the reasons it felt like a year is because we had so many planets in Capricorn. Capricorn, it's the sign of matter, the material, it's physicality, it's bones, it's structure, and it's really about manifesting some things in our lives. And I just think that it just felt very heavy when we were back, when the sun was in Capricorn, when we were stepping out of the eclipses. And Mars, on the other hand, it's gas. It's like gas in the car. You need Mars to go. No Mars, nothing's happening. That's why sometimes you come to me in my client work and they want some things to happen, which are potential in the chart, but what they're really asking about is Mars. They have a Mars problem. They gotta find their motivation. They need to find their courage. They need to find their action. So here is Mars, and it's giving gas to all the, that sounded really funny. It's giving action and motivation to these planets in Capricorn. And something I maybe have talked about in previous videos is that I want you all to go back and think what began in 2018. Why 2018? Well, that was the year, and particularly, well, it was more like December 2017, but the start of 2018, Saturn went into Capricorn for the first time since the early 1990s. And when a planet goes into a new sign, and we see that this week with Mars in Capricorn, but Saturn doesn't move very quickly. Mars on one hand spends 6 weeks in a sign. Saturn will spend 2.5 to 3 years in a sign. So something began at that time in a very particular part of our life, and we can just go back and maybe see the beginning of a story. And Saturn was saying that part of your life, depending on what sign you are. I don't think I have it in the show notes. I've mentioned it on previous videos, but I wrote something called Saturn and Capricorn Sign by Sign, and that lets you know that particular area. But here we are, over the last 2 years, we've been working on that part of our life. Saturn wants achievement. It wants things in order. It wants discipline. It wants accountability. That's its function in astrology. I know that that's not a very glamorous or sexy function, but it's a very necessary function because we live in physical bodies. So we've been working hard, making changes, pushing ourselves, trying to reach for achievement, ambition, excellence in this part of our life. And I think now Mars is going to come in, and I think it's going to give us some necessary motivation, some courage, some, like I said, gas in the car. We're really ready to push forward with a lot of the things we've been seeding and the structure. That's why I'm really intrigued by Mars and Capricorn. It's like I said, but now there's 4 planets in Capricorn, not including the south node of the moon. And then when the moon gets there on, I believe it's Tuesday, February 18th, it might be the 19th, we're going to have 5 planets in Capricorn. That's a lot of planets in Capricorn. So one of our key words this week is diligence. It's accountability. It's setting ambitions and working towards our goals. We might feel maybe a little tired because Capricorn energy can be a little tiring. It's a little heavy, but I'm hoping that Mars in Capricorn is what we need. The other thing that's intriguing is that Mars is going to start to activate lunar eclipse degrees from December and January, but also previous eclipse degrees in the last go around in the middle of 2019. So there might be some twists and turns in the road as we go into March. That's just how astrology works, because Mars is like a trigger. It makes things happen. Whatever seeds were planted at that time, December and January, and also this past July of 2019, we were going to see some connections to those times. We might see people coming in and out of our lives, opportunities, and my hope is that, because if we've been doing the hard work with Saturn and Capricorn, we get some positive feedback, we get some reward, because another point I want to make is that Saturn is now at the last 5 degrees of Capricorn. It will get to Aquarius, which is a whole other subject for another time, on the 21st of March. So, as we record this, we're still in the middle of February, but I think March is going to be here before we know it. And now we're kind of getting under Saturn's watch. Saturn's like, hey, what have you been doing since the beginning of 2018? You could even argue that Saturn is asking, hey, what have you been doing since the start of 2008? Because that was the year that Pluto went into Capricorn and started this very long 16-year story of completely transforming our relationship with the sign of Capricorn, our relationship with structure, authority, power, ambition. So I think that there's going to be some work for us in the coming weeks. I don't know. Well, I think Mars is going to be helpful. We've got Jupiter there in Capricorn as well. I'm just checking in on the comments. Capricorn equals boring. Well, there's got to be a sign for boring. I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. Capricorn, you're not boring. I love Capricorn. I love Saturn. I think Saturn gets us places. So we all have Capricorn somewhere in our life. But if you don't like Capricorn, if you don't like boring, don't worry, we are stepping into Pisces season, a sign that's anything but boring. It's about, as I was saying a few moments ago, about feeling, about spirituality, about intuition. So it's a time to meditate more, to take a time out, to go on retreat, to have a new relationship with music and art and creativity and even dance, because ruled by Jupiter, Pisces likes to dance in general. Side note, a very talented friend of mine made this necklace. So I really wanted to give her a shout out. My very good friend Iman of Eswera Jewelry. I put the link to her store in the show notes because I think this kind of reminded me of Pisces, this kind of blue. It's got the lapis. So that was a little side note. But yeah, so Pisces season begins on the 18th. Jupiter, its ruler, is in Capricorn. We can't get away from Capricorn no matter how hard we try these days. We also have a new moon this week. We have a new moon on the 23rd of February. This one is going to be at 4 degrees of Pisces and at 10:32 a.m. here in New York. So your times are 7:32 a.m. Los Angeles, 3:32 p.m. London, 2:32 a.m. In Sydney on the 24th of February, and 4:32 a.m. in Auckland. So this new moon, it has a gentle energy to it. I think the previous new moon cycles, especially with the Saturn and Pluto, especially with this kind of heavy Capricorn season. Even the Sagittarius new moon that we had back in the end of November, it had like a strong Neptune energy. But this one, it has this sextile to Uranus. I think it has like a Venus square Jupiter. It has something else in it, but it Jupiter sextile Neptune, which is also an aspect this week. And sextiles are quiet energy. They're like the energy of Venus. They're like a concierge. They kind of smooth things out and make things a little bit easier. I am looking at this new moon, and it seems like it's really inspiring us to vision, to create, to meditate, to think about what we want in our lives. I mean, I think that's this push-pull that we're having right now with the astrology. I think Pisces is really so much about the intuition and the vision and seeing something. And then we have all these planets in Capricorn, the sign of matter, the sign of the material, and how do you bring those into reality? So I think that this is a new moon in general that's really inspiring us to come up with a vision for our lives, especially a vision, say, in that one particular part of our life where the new moon is falling. I'm going to quickly go around the zodiac. So where this new moon is activating your chart. Aries. So Pisces is your last sign. So if you're an Aries or Aries rising, Pisces is your last sign. So you're coming to the end of a long journey throughout the kind of your personal year. You're getting ready for the next birthday. You're feeling reflective. It's a good time to retreat and pull back, not to push too hard, to kind of go with the ebb and the flow. That said, Mars, your planet, is now in your career sign of Capricorn, so you might be pushing really hard, but I think that this is a time when maybe you're having to negotiate your professional life, but also your spiritual life. So how do you really prioritize your inner world, your searching for answers, your spirituality over the coming 4 weeks during the duration of the lunar month? Taurus, this is about friendships and community. And this really reveals, I think, how big your heart is and how generous you can be with social causes and humanity. So it's really a time to, I think, recommit to a lot of the work that you like to do with community and helping people, maybe volunteering in your community. It's also a time to reconnect with your friends. So it might be a very social new moon for you, lunar month for you, and maybe one that has travel, maybe one where you're really kind of exchanging a lot of different philosophies and ideas. Moving on to Gemini. So Pisces is your career sign. Pisces is the top of your personal chart, and the sun is now kind of in the part of your chart that makes you the most visible. So if you're searching for a job, if you're looking to make a career shift or a career move, like this is your time, especially after this full moon, or this new moon, excuse me. So this is a time for you to really connect with your ambitions this month, Gemini. I think that with the energy of the new moon pointing over towards all that Capricorn energy, I think you've just been doing so much inner work and inner growth over the last couple of years, Gemini, that this is a time when if you're looking to make a big step forward in your career life, how is that informed by all the inner transformation that you've been doing? So how does the world now see you, like the interior transformation, the exterior match the interior transformation that you've been doing? Moving on to Cancer. So this is the part of your chart that talks about foreign travel, long distance travel, education, philosophy, the sense of like, what do you believe in, Cancer? It might be a very intuitive time for you, a very spiritual time, but also a time when maybe you're looking to other philosophies, traditions, ways of thinking to help in this search for meaning. So it's kind of this very meaning driven full new moon for you, and with the energy of the new moon pointing towards relationships, maybe some of that, meaning and trying to figure things out is pointing back to your relationships. So this moving forward, Leo, this is a new moon that is highlighting some of your deepest emotional material. So you might be doing a lot of inner work, a lot of soul searching. Maybe you're kind of digging into deeper parts of your psyche. It's really great for doing some deep healing, especially with the Neptune energy and the Pisces energy. Pisces being one of the healing signs of the zodiac, and with Jupiter pointing over to your health sign of Capricorn, how do you work on your physical health and also your emotional and mental health this month, Leo? So maybe if there's any stubborn issues that you've been working through, this might be a really beautiful new moon for you to get new perspectives and also to let some things go. Virgo, this is a new moon that's about relationships. So this is one of your natural times in your personal year to start a relationship, to meet somebody new, but also to reconnect with your existing relationships. So if you are, and we, that said, we all have relationships, even if we're not in a primary romantic partnership. So this also does include friendships in a way. Like, how do you engage differently one-on-one with the people in your life? And if you do have a primary partnership or romantic partnership, how do you give that relationship what it needs? Because Pisces being this very emotional sign, it needs a lot of attention, it needs a lot of love and compassion. And then with the energy of that, Jupiter pointing towards your romance sign, so maybe it's just a romantic next 4 weeks for you, if that's relevant for you. Moving on to Libra. So this is the part of your chart that talks about health and wellness. And Libra in general, your constitution can be a little sensitive. You kind of pick up on things in your environment. And I think the Pisces new moon is a reminder to maybe take some time for yourself, maybe, do some sort of like healing or health and wellness treatment. That'd be really good for this energy. But also looking at diet, nutrition, fitness, looking to make any positive changes. This also, just on a very superficial level, might be a time that you are looking to make some changes in your home environment, organize your home environment, get your home environment in the way that you would like it to look like. Moving on to Scorpio. So Pisces is your sign of creativity. It's your sign of self-expression, persona, identity. It's time for people to see you, to know your gifts, know your talents, for you to express them. It's also your sign of romance and play. So those things might be more highlighted for you over the coming 4 weeks of the lunar month, with the energy of the new moon pointing towards Capricorn. It's also a time for you to express your voice and to be heard, and maybe those talents and gifts and creativity has to do with writing or speaking. Moving on to Sagittarius. So this is the part of your chart that talks about home and family. Pisces is what's called the bottom of your chart. So this is a time to really get back in touch with your roots. You're maybe spending more time in the home. You're taking care of the home. Maybe you're moving. I think that with Jupiter pointing over towards your money sign, it's a time to really either invest in your home environment, make your environment kind of reflect the values that you want it to look. It's a time for resource and gathering things for the home, and also time when family is very highlighted. So you might be spending more time with family over the coming lunar month. Capricorn, so lots going on in your sign. You've got so many planets right now, so life might be a little interesting, especially now that Mars is in Capricorn. Pisces for you is your sign of communication, travel, learning, classes, thinking. It's probably going to be a busy 4 weeks for you over the lunar month. You might be traveling a lot. You might be on the go. There might be conversations that you're having, maybe even heartfelt conversations, because Pisces is a very emotional, intuitive, and revealing sign. So this might just be a lunar month when you have something to say. So don't hold back, Capricorn. Say what you need to say. Have people hear you, and maybe even heal that voice if you don't always have a chance to express yourself. Aquarius. So this is the part of your chart that talks about money, resources, what you own, how you make and earn a living, and what you spend your money on. So your material life might be more highlighted over the next 4 weeks, the time of the lunar month. So it's a time to have new intentions on your material life. Maybe you're making some key purchases, although caveat, Mercury is retrograde. That's not that you can't make a big purchase, but if you can wait till March, it's just a little better. So this is a time when you are having to kind of take a look and see what your resources, what do you need, what are you missing, kind of tend to the roof over your head, so to speak. And also really think deeply about value, even if that value is yourself. Finally, Pisces, happy birthday, just about. You are coming into a new season. It's a time for renewal, new beginnings, celebrating your birthday. The new moon is kind of like your personal reset for your birthday month. So it's a time to set new intentions, to think about the year ahead. I think with this beautiful Jupiter and Neptune energy we have this week, we have the sextile, I believe it's on Wednesday or Thursday, really create a vision for this year that you want, Pisces. With Jupiter pointing towards the sign of friendships and community, this will be a lunar month rather, that is social. Maybe you're spending more time with friends, maybe you're reaching out to allies and people that you are really connected with and you see eye to eye with. So that's where this new moon is going to highlight for you over the next 4 weeks. I'm just checking on the comments. I see, hi Janet, hi Candace. So yeah, when planets change direction and then they change signs, that tells us that it's time for, let's say the story that we've been living through over the last 3-4 weeks, like things are changing. So the tempo is changing, the background music is changing, the cast of characters is changing. So look to see what's shifting for you this week. Everybody is going to feel Mars differently, even though I'm painting it in this way of I think it's going to give us some motivation that we need with all this Capricorn energy. You might be feeling it differently. You might be like, where's my gas? So there might be, you might need to think about, what's your relationship with Capricorn? How can you maybe kind of get things a little bit more motivated for you? I don't know. That's just my thought. So those are your highlights this week. I will also add that for next week, I'm a little unsure about the logistics of trying to do a live Facebook Live because I will not be in the US, but maybe it's possible. Stay tuned. We can talk about next week's astrology from a very different location. So just to recap this week, we're going from Aquarius season and we're going into Pisces season. So we're coming to the end of the zodiac year. Yes, there is such thing as a zodiac year. Let's say the new zodiac year begins on the 21st approximately of March. I think this year the spring solstice in the northern hemisphere is the late on the 19th of March. So it's early this year. So that's the beginning of the zodiac year. So we're stepping into an intuitive and reflective time, a time to vision, a time to dream, a time to work on your spirituality and work on these deeper questions around meaning. But I thank you all for joining me tonight and giving me your feedback, even if Capricorn is boring. I'm sorry. And sharing your stories and being a constant viewer on this. Do follow me on Facebook if you don't already. Follow me on Instagram. Of course, you can always book a consultation with me. Yeah, that is it. So thank you so much for joining me this evening for a look at this week's astrology for February 17th through 23rd, 2020. And we'll see about next week happening. Stay tuned. Maybe I can bring some equipment with me. So until then, take care. Bye.